So first of all, is your mortgage sensible? So what I mean by sensible is, are you on the best rate you could possibly be? And are you working towards having your mortgage paid down to a certain rate by the next time that it ends? So the biggest jumps are, have you got a 10% deposit, 20% deposit, and a 40% deposit? So if you can get to any of those hurdle rates before the next time you review your mortgage, you could be getting a better deal than otherwise not. But also it's about the length of your mortgage. So now we're really accustomed to these 35-year mortgages, but maybe that doesn't tie in with your retirement goals. So it's about working, when is your mortgage going to be cleared, and can you overpay it, or do you need to overpay it really? So a little motivator that I did in advance. So if your mortgage is 250,000 and your interest rate is 4.5%, and you've got a 35-year mortgage, if you just paid £50 a week off, which some people could manage to cut back on, you'd save yourself a whopping £78,000 in interest. That's just bonkers, isn't it? 50 quid a week, saving you 78,000 in interest. But here's the best bit. You will be extra smug for 9 years, 9 months, because you won't have a mortgage. You'll have paid it off nearly at 25 years rather than the 35 years. So imagine how it will feel to not have a mortgage for nearly a decade just from 50 quid a week. So these little things that you can do really, really add up. So I think, first of all, check it's sensible, your mortgage. And then you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. Like, can you change the tax bracket that you're in with your pension payment? So like the example we were saying earlier, if you're on 62, can you get to 60? If you're on 55, can you get into the basic rate tax threshold of just slightly over 50,000? And definitely if you're in that horrid 60% bracket of above 100, can you get yourself to 99,999? So I think it's about weighing up those two things.
That's really good advice.
Do you think that pensions are now a more important decision in financial planning than they were when the rates were lower? Like, is it more of a consideration?
Yeah.
Sorry, mortgages.
Mortgages. I think mortgages, you could outsave, you're used to be able to outsave your mortgage interest usually. So it was never such a big deal, but now it's huge. You can see just the fact it's the interest that you're saving, £78,000 of interest from 50 quid a week.
And if you're forecasting at, say, 1% and the mortgage is at 4.5, then like where you're forecasting at 4, your calculations, they are comparable.
Yeah.
I guess when people are like, oh, I'll get 10% in the market, it always leans them towards investing over paying the mortgage.
But ideally, I mean, do both, but you choose which way you tilt towards. If you're an aggressive investor and you're happy with the highs and lows of the stock market, then go with that, because you probably will outperform your mortgage. Hopefully you're doing it tax efficiently, because you don't want it all to go in tax. But yeah, I think do both, but you decide which tilt you have.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about the peace of mind of being debt mortgage free, and that freeing.
Yeah, and if you're a cash hoarder, like we spoke about earlier, those people who were worried, deciding to have less amount of cash but in your mortgage can tick a big box, because probably now we're not going to be getting mortgage beating interest rates after tax for very much longer. So having money in your mortgage is actually probably saving you more than you're making in
if you're not a big investor, you're more of like someone sat on cash, you could fire it in. Yeah, because the rates are very similar, aren't they? Would you? I mean, is there a flexibility argument though of going, well, you could have the money in, say, like a cash savings account, and then when it comes to the refinance period, you can decide then if you overpay?
Yeah, you can do that. That's definitely helpful and gives you ultimate flexibility. But I think it depends what game you're playing with yourself. If you're just trying to up your mortgage by an amount that you're hopefully not going to miss, then just tweaking it a little will hopefully out of sight, out of mind, and you'll never even notice it.
It's like the pension thing again, isn't it? It's like the locking it away is potentially.
Because I think we can have great intentions, but if you're not really going to save that money for the day your mortgage rate's up.
If you're like in your 30s and you're starting out all your like pensions and mortgages, do you think you should focus on like, let's get a good pension going first, contribute to that, and then look for property? Or do you think you can do them at the same time?
Oh, it's so hard. It's a real personal thing, isn't it? I think naturally people do property first because it's built into us as English people.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Do you think that's the right way to go about it for your security, your future?
I would just have to know the numbers. Like, should you really, really stretch yourself at the expense of your pension? No, because are you going to get that massive house with that massive mortgage, but you can't afford to pay into a pension? Then no. But I think if you're making a sensible decision,
where you live as well, right? So if you're in the centre of London and it's going to take you 15 years to save a deposit, you probably think, well, I should probably be paying into my pension because it's a lot of compounding. Whereas up north, it might take 3 years to get the deposit together. So okay, like prioritise the property. But yeah, I think, you know, for many people in the centre of London, it's going to take them most of their working lives to build up a meaningful deposit to get the house they want. Yeah. They're just going to end up in a flat, aren't they? And then they can't have a family and stuff. So, yeah, it's very circumstantial. Yeah, I'm always going to say that everyone should, at the very least, be maxing out the contribution that their employer will do with their workplace scheme.
Without a doubt, that's got to be your priority. Get as much free money from your employer as you can. Yeah,
and then go, okay, well, is it extra pension now or is it property? Another thing that, you know, I know that you do as part of your job is talk to people about protection and insurances. Whenever we mention insurance, people are like, it's a scam. You're not trying to sell anyone here. We've all got insurance. I don't know if Timay knows that today. But, you know.
I've got health insurance. We did an episode on insurance and a lot of my friends are like, oh my God, I never thought about income protection insurance. It's a really good idea. I think a lot of people
that could be the New Year's wish list then.
Yeah. This was a clip from our episode with Lisa Conway-Hughes, financial advisor. We talked about small changes you can make to make a big difference in your life. Check out the full episode right here.